I'm going to show you 3 options for 3 types of VTubing in this video. Starting off with PNGTubing. PNGTubing is the lightest form of VTubing, so if you're running on an older or less powerful computer or laptop, this might be a good option for you. PNGTubing is using a static image of your character, which swaps between an inactive and active state. There's also the option to use a GIF, much like this one. For all of my artists out there, it's pretty easy to make our own characters. However, for my non-artist friends out there, I'm going to show you a great free resource that you can use to start PNGTubing. Allow me to introduce you to Picrew. Here you'll find a bunch of character creators made by independent artists, and we can actually use this to make our first PNGTuber. What you're going to want to do is press the search button on the top right, and before you do anything, you want to make sure to click commercial. If you're planning to use your PNGTuber for content creation or streaming, this is a very important step, as the artist has already given you permission to use it commercially. You can choose to sort by what's popular or what's new, and there are many creators to pick from, so take your time to choose one that you like. So let me quickly show you how the Picrew creator works. I've picked a creator that I like, and as you can see it says PNGTuber use is allowed, credit is required. Please do remember to credit your artists. We're going to click play, and this is going to come up with the actual creator selection. So here's how the customization works. We're going to have a bunch of different tabs which you can scroll through, and you can select from the preset options on each. There may also be color selections, for example with the eyes, you'll see that there are these color blocks, and you may also have the option to move things around a little bit using this arrow key. Let's go ahead and quickly create a character here. Before we finish off our avatar, a lot of them do have the option to have a transparent background, like this one. If it has the option, then please use it. We're going to click done. And make sure to download this image. Before we go ahead, we're going to go back one more. And we're going to scroll over to our mouth. And we're going to create a version with an open mouth. Go ahead and save this one too. So now we should have a picture of our character with both a closed and open mouth. Next up, let's look at the ways we can use our PNGTuber. First up, we're going to have Discord Reactive. This is what I'm currently using. You're going to need to sign in with Discord, and once that's connected you should be able to see this screen. We're going to click the plus here. We're going to add a speaking image and an inactive image, using the new pictures that we just made from the Picrew. So you should be able to see them on the preview here. We're going to name this PNG and save. And when I click this, it's going to swap me over to the new reactive. And now you can see, whenever I'm talking, my mouth will be open. There's also some other options on the top left here, such as adding a bounce effect, crossfade, dimming others, dimming your own inactive image. This is also useful for when you're doing collabs. So as you can see, I can dim myself. The main downside to this method is that you need to be constantly in a Discord call in order for it to work. One way to do this is by creating your own Discord server and creating a private channel for voice. Next up, let's talk about VideoTube Mini. This is a free PNGTubing software that you can download, but has a little bit more customization to it. Let's go ahead and add our picture in. So you can see with this one that I'm shaking when I talk. This is because we can set a motion for when we talk. So this program has a lot more customization options. For example, we can make our mouth transition jump on talk, a lot like our Discord reactive. We can also change our closed mouth and open mouth motions. So for example, we have a little bit of vibing, shaking more, bouncy, excited, and nervous. I see a lot of people using this for the open mouth, for example. If I talk, I'm gonna shake a lot, like this. The neat thing about VTube is you can create custom expressions too. So let's say that I wanted my hands to change position, so I went ahead and saved a new version of the Picrew. We're gonna create a new state and change our closed mouth image to our new hands. So now you can see that when I'm talking, my hands raise, but they're in the lower position when I'm not talking. And I can also switch this back with a hotkey. The other neat thing about VTube is that it allows for you to use Spout to capture. I made a video all about this before. You can check that out using the link in the iCard up above. Last up for PNGTubing, we have PNGTuber Plus. Now I'm not going to go into super detail about how this one works, but I like to call it Live2D Lite. If we go ahead and click this pencil down here, you're going to see a whole bunch of layers to our PNG here. So this is going to be a lot more difficult to use with a Picrew, but if you're an artist and know how to separate out your layers, much like a Live2D model, you can separate out your model a little bit more to give them a bit of extra bounce. So as you can see, we have our head, hat, mouth and hair all separated here, and they all bounce separately. The other neat thing with PNGTuber Plus is that it comes default with a transparent background, so it makes it super easy to use in your streaming software of choice. Next up, let's talk about Live2D. First of all, let me cover what Live2D actually is. The basics of Live2D is taking a 2D image and animating it to match your facial movements. We use motion tracking software with a device such as a webcam or iPhone in order to track our facial movements, whilst the animation part, or the rigging, is done through a program like Live2D. Now it's entirely possible to create your own Live2D model for entirely free. Live2D itself has a free trial for 45 days, or the free version with slight limitations. By the way, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, I make a bunch of Live2D tutorials as well as VTubing content. If this interests you, then it would greatly help if you would click that subscribe button to keep up to date with all of my latest videos. Now I know Live2D isn't for everyone, plus it's a pretty time-consuming thing to do. So what can we do if we would still like to use a Live2D model, but we don't have the time to invest into it? I find that Twitter is a great resource for finding free VTuber models that you can use to get started. All we're going to do is type into our search bar, free Live2D model, and you're going to find a bunch of posts from very generous Live2D artists and riggers that offer models for free. Bear in mind you're going to have to read their terms and conditions very carefully. Some of them might not want you to use it on stream, for example. Or there might be copyright issues, for example with these guys. And also your options are going to be relatively limited, as most of the time it's going to be a specific character or character type. So it might take a little bit of searching to find what you're really looking for. So I just found this free VTuber model, which is a full body lady, as you can see here. And they have a link to the download. And like I was saying, make sure that you always read the terms of service very carefully. And remember, credit your artists. So as you can see here, commercial use is okay. We can use this for streaming. So you'd be absolutely fine to use this model as your VTuber. You may also be able to find some customizable VTubers, such as this one. However, they will come with a cost, though these are generally relatively cheap to pick up. Say that you find a Live2D model that you really like. How are we going to track it? Well, this is where VTube Studio comes in. VTube Studio is free on Steam, however it will come with a little watermark on the bottom left unless you pay for it. There are workarounds to this, such as resizing the window in your streaming software, however, but I do highly suggest supporting the program. And here's how to import your model into VTube Studio. You're going to open up the settings, and then open data folder. We're going to go into the Live2D models, and this will have a list of all of the models that VTube Studio currently has. Go ahead and pull up your model folder, and simply drag and drop this into your Live2D models. Once that's done, go up to this top left button here, and we're going to select our new model. It's going to ask for an auto setup if the model doesn't already have the setup done. We're just going to go ahead and click the auto, and this will add all of the parameters for you. In order to start your tracking, you will need to go back into settings, go to camera, and then select your camera on. I also recommend going up to your parameter menu here, scrolling down till you see movement config, and turn this off. That way your model doesn't keep awkwardly zooming in and out. And I just got a Live2D model for completely free. Last but not least, let's talk about 3D VTubing. 3D VTubing does tend to be a lot more PC intensive than the other two methods, so do bear that in mind when you're picking which type of VTuber you'd like to start off as. Let's talk about the ways that you can become a 3D VTuber for free. So first up, we're going to be talking about VRoid Studio. Now this model that I'm currently using is a VRoid, and this program is free on Steam. VRoid is what I like to call a 3D character creator. So you can create new, choose your starting body type, and this program is great for non-artists as you can pick from a whole bunch of presets. We also have the option to change parameters on the side here, such as our eye size. There's a lot of customization options available to you. If you're looking for something a bit more specific, let's say outfit-wise, then Booth is a great resource. Booth is a Japanese website that sells assets of all kinds. We're going to go ahead and put VRoid into our search bar, and since we're looking for things for free, we're going to sort by price, low to high. And you're going to see that there is a lot of different things that you can grab on here, which are completely free, and it's as simple as grabbing the asset and importing it into VRoid. VRoid will also export your model as a VRM, which is used by most of the main VTubing trackers for 3D. Next up, we have another character creator called Obscure, and this is a new one. This also includes streaming software. The main downside to Obscure is that there are many paid assets. However, you can get started using it for free. Much like VRoid, you can customize and create your own character through Obscure, and Obscure is available for free through Epic Games. Next, let's talk about 3D trackers. There are 4 popular free trackers that you're going to see most commonly used. These are VSeeFace, XR Animator, Warudo, and Vinyan. And they all work relatively similarly, so I'm only going to cover the basics here. So I'm currently using XR Animator, and that's what allows me to use my hands using only a webcam. Ordinarily, you would need to use something like a leap motion or trackers in order to have this level of motion. Other trackers such as Warudo also allow for hand tracking with webcam. XR Animator is what I like to call a basic tracker, as it mostly just covers the actual tracking part with a transparent background. So this is Warudo, and the benefit to using both Warudo or Vinyan is that they allow for Twitch interaction, as well as a lot more customizability with your 3D VTuber. You can do things such as changing your pose, getting sprayed with water cannons, getting hit to the floor by a bunch of presents, all of that fun stuff, as well as being loaded into a custom environment such as this one you're seeing right behind me here. The other neat thing you might have noticed is that you can set a camera, so you might be able to see that the camera is tracking where my character is, or you can set a custom camera to wherever you'd like to put it. So there we had some completely free ways to start your VTubing journey. Now it's completely up to your personal preference which kind of method you prefer. You might even want to do more than one method. For example, when playing a highly intensive game such as Apex Legends, you might want to use a PNGTuber to prevent any lag. If you would like me to go in depth about any of the topics that I talked about today, then please do let me know in the comments down below. If you're interested in learning Live2D, then check out this playlist right here on the screen right in front of you. And a huge thank you to my Ko-Fi members for supporting me. If you would like more information on how to join, check out the description.